Here's the green light. Let's get going. My name's Gary. JollyRogerUkulele.com is the website. You're going to want to swing by there, pick up your sheet music. This is lesson 16 of our foundation series, which features the wildly popular, hugely famous, number one encore song of all time, Yankee Doodle. And it is going to pick up on some of the basic left-hand attack strategies we were talking about yesterday in Brahms' Lullaby, and then this will give us a chance just to further develop those skills. And so let me go make sure that the link is working properly, and then we will tweet us, and then we'll get started. Let's see, looks like that opened up just lovely. Lesson 16. Beautiful. And let me go grab. All right, so the link is working properly. Let me go tweet us out here. https://JollyRogerUkulele.com. Yesterday we crossed over the halfway line with our foundation series, and so I think we're getting close to being pretty legit ukulele players. And lesson 16 tweet. All right, so there's the Twitter, and lesson 16. All right, so there's 30 lessons. Well, technically 29 lessons in this series, and so we're getting right along, making things happen. And let me see where we are with the. Looks like the YouTube software is up and running. OBS is what I've been using as my control panel for ukulele or for YouTube, and I think we're in pretty good shape. So we'll wait just a minute or two to let everybody get piled in here. The delay between when I'm speaking and the way and when it actually shows up in your house is quite substantial, and so let me go through here. Okay, so we got some sad things going on my phone, and I'll have to deal with later. Until then, all right, let's go here, and I made some Vietnamese coffee, which I don't do often, and I love it, and I would drink it nonstop all day long, every day, if I had the opportunity. But it turns out sweetened condensed milk is not that great for you, so. And that's what I'm dealing with here. All right. Ukulele. Yankee Doodle. Let's grab that first. Let's grab the ukulele version first. We'll talk about it, and then those of you guys with baritones, you will follow along, and then we'll play it on yours as well. So the big thing from yesterday, I think, in my mind, is, hey, we are officially, there's no stopping it now. We are looking at multiple ways of playing ukulele every time you pick it up. And so some days you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm so sick of Gary, I'm just going to play the chords. Some days you're going to be like, you know what, this is pretty hard, I'm going to play the melody right now, and then I'm going to play the chord melody later on. And then some days you're like, nope, I'm doing the whole ball of wax. And so let's run through Yankee Doodle. There's a very important skill that shows up here in the middle of this song, and there's really two pretty important skills that we want to cover and make sure you're feeling comfortable with. Let's see. Vic says I sound good. She's in from Eugene. Rob is in 54. As sunny. But Rob, I didn't think you were allowed to have sun down there in Texas anymore. That's exciting. It's finally going to dry out, I hope. Valerie's in from Illinois. So far, so good. Hanging in there. Valerie's got a lot going on, so she's hanging in with us. Beautiful in Colorado Springs today. Linda, hello, Linda. Good to see you. It is beautiful today here in the western United States. Janice is in. Fog and then sun here on the west coast of Scotland, becoming warmer though. Yeah, so spring's coming to Scotland, right? So glad to have you, Janice. I don't know. Last I read, the European Union, or not European Union, the British Commonwealth, as the Brits like to call it. I heard you. Are you guys still on lockdown over there? That's pretty long time where you've been having to be quarantined. So I hope that you're doing well through all of this. Mindy's in from Montana. She sent me an email. Oh, I can't wait to read it. And Donna's here. She's a local, and Jim is sort of local. He's about 3,000 miles directly north of me. I don't think it's 3,000 miles. What is it, about 1,500 miles? Pretty far north of here, up in Fort McMurray, Alberta, Canada. I don't know. I assume that they speak with an accent up there. Grab your ukulele that's in your hand, either a baritone or a regular ukulele. Doesn't matter when we're learning how to attack the song. Only matters when we try to play together. Okay. Oh yeah, Mindy and I will agree. Visiting Scotland is maybe the greatest. It's just an astonishingly beautiful place, and so it's really nice to visit that place. Still in lockdown, can meet with one other person. Wow. It's not quite the Italian lockdown of last year, but that's pretty minimal, right? You could talk to the grocery store clerk. That's it. Well, I know it's a bummer, but boy, there's no other way to stop this thing. This thing is just so contagious. More snow last night, getting my exercise show. Yeah, I know. When you live in a snowy area, Jim, you don't really need a gym, right? You just go out and shovel. All right, so let's talk Yankee Doodle, and let's sort of talk about the things that are related to what we were learning yesterday. Yesterday, we said, hey, we got a C chord, we got an F chord, and we have G7, if I remember right. Today, our chords are C chord, and then G chord, and an F chord. That's it. Okay. Now, this song is not. This song is a little like Waltzing Matilda. Everybody in Australia knows Waltzing Matilda. Nobody really cares about Waltzing Matilda. In America, we all know about Yankee Doodle. None of us really care about Yankee Doodle. There's a song written by British soldiers. It's an old tune that British soldiers apparently put some words making fun of the American patriots, we call them, or the rebels, as the British call them. In 1776-ish, and then the American soldiers adopted this as sort of one of the songs that they like to sing. For us, we care about, hey, every ukulele strum along you go to ever in your life will include the C chord, the F chord, and the G chord, and so you want to get good at those. Baritone players, your C chord looks like an F chord to here. Your F chord is your hard one, okay, little bar, middle and ring finger here. You may want to put on a full bar there. I know I shouldn't say it that way. I would love for you to put a full bar on because it's going to make your life easier down the road. But if you want to put a half bar on, that's perfectly fine. I typically do a half bar on that shape. But I could have done myself a huge favor by just getting comfortable with full bar every time. So you decide how you best want to play it, baritone players. And then, of course, your G chord looks like the ukulele C chord. Let's go through and strum it, sing it, and get where we know a little bit about the tune. And then we will play it the other way. So together, we can play, no matter which instrument you have, we can play by chords, right then. So baritone players, when you go to a ukulele gathering, you're going to be very popular because you have a lower voicing, and it makes the whole room sound better when you got a few baritones in there. Let's see. Jim says 1,482 miles. Right. Anytime you want to come down, Jim, we'll go to have a cup of coffee. I guess 1,500. That was pretty good. 1,482 miles north of me is where Jim is. Okay. Hey, Mary, good to see you. Let's play. 1, 2, ready, play. Yankee Doodle went to town riding on a pony, stuck a feather in his hat and called it macaroni. Yankee Doodle, keep it up. Yankee Doodle Dan. D. Mind the music and the step, and with the girls be and D. Okay, that's your song. Mindy, I'll get there. You're a little bit ahead of me. We'll get there. Don't worry. That's definitely one of the moments in the song. When you're strumming, you know at this point in your development that putting on G chord is a little bit challenging. And if you see measure 4, you got a G chord in the middle of that measure. Measure 7, you got a G chord. Measure 15, you have a G chord. If you see one of those coming, hopefully you're not falling asleep on the chord you're on, right? It's very normal to be like, riding on a pole. Oh, crud, I'm supposed to be on G. So you look down, you get your G on. Well, by the time you've got your G on, we've already moved on to the next measure. So you always want to be looking ahead, especially for hard chords. In this case, you've got a G chord in the middle of 4 that goes back to C. So as I'm pulling up into measure 4, Yankee Doodle went to town riding on a, and I'm like, oh gosh, I get my G chord on, pony. You might not strum the second strum in measure 4 at all because you got to get your G chord on. You want your new chord, whatever that's going to be, in place by the first strum of the measure or the first strum where it happens. So if you look at measure 5, I've got to get a chord on at the beginning of 5, the beginning of 6, the beginning of 7, and beginning of 8, and beginning of 9. So there's a lot of chord changes there. Stuck a feather in his hat and called it macaroni, Yankee Doodle. What I'm encouraging you to do is, you're supposed to strum all 4 beats in every measure. Stuck a feather in his hat and called it macaroni, Yankee Doodle. That's what you're supposed to do. But when you're newer, you really can't do that. It's just, there's too much stuff. It's too hard to do. So reduce the number of strums you do per measure, giving you a minute to think about getting your next chord on. So if I did only 1 strum per measure, do that with me from measure 5, just 1 strum per measure, and see if you can get your chord on in time. Ready? From 5. Ready? Play. Stuck a feather in his hat and called it macaroni, Yankee Doodle. Now you got a lot better shot at doing that, right? Is by just hit the C chord. Stuck a feather in his hat and called it macaroni, Yankee Doodle. You got a lot more opportunity to get that right if you're not strumming all the way up until the last possible moment. Obviously, your goal is to be able to strum all 4 strums and still get your chord on into the next measure. One of the things that will help you with that is always reading ahead. Don't fall asleep on the chord you're on because that's not going to last very long. You need to look and say, all right, what's the next thing I'm going to be doing? So now let's try 2 strums per measure and see if you can get your chords on in the same amount and same success. Okay, from 5. Ready, play. Stuck a feather in his hat and called it macaroni, Yankee Doodle. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about when you're strumming. When you go to a strum along and you are falling asleep on whatever chord you're on, all of a sudden you're going to get caught. And watch me when I'm playing, I get caught plenty. But you want to always be looking ahead, trying to say, okay, what's tragedy is about to befall me, and being ready for that in enough time. Let's try 3 strums and a rest in each of those measures. 1, 2, 3, 4. Stuck a feather in his hat and called it macaroni, Yankee Doodle. Okay, so that's giving you a full beat off at the end of every measure so that you can get your next chord on. And that's a survival skill. All musicians do stuff like that. So I don't care if you go to even if you go to the symphony, less so in the symphony, but in all pop music or folk music or whatever you go to, those guys are going to see a mean chord coming up. They're going to pull off their current chord and get ready so that they are ready by the first beat of the next chord. And so give yourself permission. Yes, you're supposed to strum all 4 times in each measure, but you don't have to. There's no rule that says, hey, if you don't strum all 4, you get thrown in jail. Your goal would be on the C's. The first 3 measures are all C's, so you can kind of just knock them out. Yankee Doodle went you down, riding on a... Now you got a problem. Po, let it go. Mi, let it go. Stuck a fet, let it go. Turned his hat, let it go. Called it Mac, let it go. Row, mi, let it go. Yankee Doodle. And then you can play through those 2 F's. Yankee Doodle, keep it up. Yankee Doodles, dandy, right? So the thought process here is you can the important strum is the first strum of the new chord, and you want to be there on time. And if that means you have to abandon some of your strums right now, that's perfectly fine. Long term, you won't be doing that for very long. It'll come around pretty quickly where you're able to strum everything. I do know when I'm playing chords and I see a really mean chord coming up, I don't even think about it anymore. I'm going to let go of that previous chord I might strum it once, and then I'm going to go start get to work putting on my complicated chord over here on my left hand, and I'm going to trust that the melody and everybody else playing music, they're going to keep the thing going, but I'm going to be ready on the first beat of the new chord so that I don't so that one, I can help keep the timing correct, but also so I can create the new neighborhood in which the melody is going to be living. And that's what chords do, is they create a neighborhood in which your melody can happily survive. Now, so as you're thinking about chord changes in baritones, you have a whole different program, right? You're playing this chord. When you get to an F chord, man, you have your work cut out for you. You got to get that on, you got to get this on, you got to get that on. And so when you see F chords, that's your terror chord coming up. You're like, oh gosh, I got an F in measure 6. So at measure 5, you knock out that C chord 1 beat. That gives you 3 full beats to get your F chord on, and then you're ready, right? And you know G chord, you can do G chord, so you could probably play all 4 of the Fs, and then all 4 of the Gs, and then all 4 of the Cs, and so on. But, well, you can't play all 4 of the Cs because at measure 9 you got that F sitting there. So just be mindful. It's okay not to play everything. It is okay. All right, so that's a short discussion on chords. The next issue that comes up is playing melody. Okay, now over the last couple of lessons, we've talked about when it's a 1, you're going to play your index finger here. When it's a 2, you're going to play with your middle finger here. When it's a 3, you're going to play with your ring finger here. And when it's a 4, you're going to play with your pinky finger there. Okay, that's a pretty good system. It will stick with you for the rest of your days. Sometimes if you don't have any 1s, you might play in 2nd position. If you don't have any 1s or 2s, you might play in 3rd position. When the melodies get complex and start sliding up the neck, you're going to play in 5th, 5, 6, 7, 8 position. There's even times you're going to play clear up in 9th position, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And so these positions are used to help minimize motion and to make reliability, to minimize the amount of times that your pinky's going to have to be stretching way out. I finished a tune today where they're going to be mad at me. They got to play a D chord with their pinky on 7. Right, super stretched out, super unpleasant, pretty high likelihood of blowing this, and so we don't like that. We try to minimize that amount. If I could have gotten this where we could have played this right here, then I would have, but there wasn't a conveniently located chord shape here to do that. So when you're talking about Yankee Doodle, as with many songs, I take a look at the melody line. It says 3 3 5 7 3 7 5 3 3 3 5 7 3. All of those are all the way 3 or higher, right? And it goes all the way up to 7. So it's going to make a whole lot of sense for me to play in 3rd position there. That way my ring finger falls on 5, and my pinky's only got to stretch 1 fret to get to the 7th. Now I've got this whole thing covered, and I'm not going to have to move clear up until I see that 2 at the end of measure 4. My index finger will slide down. right? And then again at measure 7, I notice, oh gosh, after measure 7, everything drops down into first position, and so I'm going to follow suit, and I'm just going to have my hand go back into regular first position playing. So let's play Yankee Doodle. Start with your pinky on 3, okay? And you'll notice, this is a C chord, right? We usually play it with our ring, but we're just playing the melody right now, so no problem with playing with my index finger. Frankly, there won't be any problem with playing the tough uke with your index finger either, okay? From the top, not fast. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 3, ring. 5, pinky. 7, index. Pinky, ring, index. 3, 3, ring. 5, pinky. 7, ring, index. Slide down. 2, slide right back up. 3, 3, 5, 7, slide up. 8, slide back. 7, 5, 3, now go on. Now when you get there, everything after this, that's the end of the high notes. Now just slide your middle finger back to the 2, 2, ring finger 3, open, middle finger 2, and 2 rings. 3, 3, let's keep going. O, middle, 2, O, ring finger, 3, O, middle finger, ring finger, drop back to the 3, ring finger, 3, O, 3, index finger, 1, O, 3, O, 2, O, 3, O, middle, ring, O, ring, ring, 2, 5, 3, 3. Now, a couple of thoughts as I was just playing along there. I'm like, what we just did there is we started with Frere Jacques, right? And then we've been working on a little bit of tune here, a little tune there. Pretty soon now, you're playing a complete melody, top to bottom, just making sure you know what number of fret to hold down and what string you're on, and you're playing this entire piece of music. That will never change, no matter how complex the song gets. Playing a straight, pretty melody on ukulele is gonna lay right into this tablature just like that. If you are committed to reading standard notation, which you don't have to be, you could play that directly off of the standard notation. It would sound identical. So you have a lot of skills starting to develop, and if I were working with a new player, boy, that would be the thing that's important to me, because I want them to go, that's what I want them to be able to do, because if they can play that with some smoothness, a little bit of flair, a little bit of hey, I'm a cool dude, this is a cool song, I'm going to make it be a cool experience for my audience. If we can get that out of a melody player, then it's super easy for you as the accompaniment to be choosing, hey, I'm just going to play the chords, they're going to play the melody. And what's beautiful about that is then if you want to sing, you can, but you don't have to. And so if you're a singer, you always use the chords, and if you're not a singer, you always have to have somebody playing melody, and that's probably you, because you're the only one in your neighborhood who understands this stuff. Okay, most ukulele players, this is more work than they're willing to do. They don't see ukulele in the same terms of this being a musical instrument. They see this as being a fun thing to do, and so that's how you ended up here, right? You're like, oh, ukulele is a fun thing to do. I'd like to learn a little bit more about it, and then you end up here, and then I'm like, all right, let's take all of the fun out of it. Let's put all of the work into it, and let's treat it as if you're playing a violin or a cello or a piano or a harp. Let's put that level of work into it, and then you're going to have the ability to play with other people. You're going to have the ability to play by yourself. You're going to have the ability to play at the high level. You're also going to be able to go to a ukulele strum along and just have fun. When you meet up with other ukulele players and you start showing them this stuff, not a lot of them are going to jump on board, because it is a lot of work as you guys are figuring out. Okay, now let's play a duet. I want you guys to play the chords, baritones. Just use your chords. I'm going to play the melody, and you guys are going to play chords. 4 strums per measure, or less strums if you have a mean chord coming up. Okay, so we're going to have a nice duet. Okay, from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. Plank. This is how not to play a duet. Now let's show you how to play one. 1, 2, 3, 4. How did we sound? When I'm not hearing you, I'm just having to make sure that I try to keep my count as steady as possible, and then your job is to adapt to me because I can't hear what you're doing. But if we were in the room together, we would be listening to one another. I would be playing melody and I'd be listening to your chords, and if you're speeding up, I got to speed up the melody, and if you're slowing down, I got to slow down the melody. Meanwhile, if I'm speeding up the melody, you have to strum a little faster, or if I slow it down, whatever. Also, when we're in the room together, it's entirely possible that one of us makes a mistake, right? And we have to decide, is that mistake, and most of the time we're like, that never happened, right? We just keep moving forward, plump, and keep going. The thing I think when you are studying music at this level is this notion of ensemble. You're going to be a very good player because you show up and play with me every day. Not because I'm a great player, but because that business of negotiating, he's playing it this way, I'm playing a little bit differently, I just made a mistake, I keep going, he made a mistake, I keep going, that we find common ground. That process is very hard to teach other than to just do it. When we have people come into our orchestra here, by far the biggest struggle is to just let mistakes go, just as if they never happened, because we don't slow down, we don't stop, we don't. When somebody goofs up, we don't. Nobody cares, right? You just keep moving forward. And so, as a performer and as a player, getting comfortable with playing with somebody else is really, really a valuable tool. So I hope that that's starting to settle in for you just a little bit. All right, so we've done a lot of talk about chords, done a lot of talk about melody. And we will go back through and do a brief run through on baritone at the end here. Let's talk about the tough uke, and let's talk about its purpose. Its purpose is to teach you how to play by yourself, okay? Which is, I've met most of you, and that's a terrible idea. You're lovely people, right? But you might want to. So let's go through the tough uke. And Mindy had a question. Hey, I'm measure 4. What the heck's going on with that one? So it's the only measure in the whole thing with a chord change in the middle, right? And so we'll talk about what happens when you get there. So your first measure 1, 0, 0, 0, 3. So you strum that. And I'd recommend using your index finger instead of your ring finger, because the rest of those melody notes are going to be happening down here with your other finger. So just start with your index finger on 3. Strum the 0, 0, 0, 3. And then 3, 5, 7. Okay, and then come right back, 0, 0, 0, 3 again. And then 7, 5. 3 on the second string. Index finger back to the top. 5, 7. Going to strum 0, 0, 0, 3. And then it says 0, 2, 3, 2. Well, that's a G chord. Put your G chord on and just double check. 0 is your first one, a 2, a 3, and a 2. So just put your G chord on and strum it. Okay? So that happens 2 beats of 0, 0, 0, 3, and then 2 beats of 0, 2, 3, 2, which is your G chord. Okay? And then measure 5. Go back to your index finger on the 0, 0, 0, 3. 5, 7. Now, Mindy, this is where your question is supposed to be. 5, 5, 5, 8. What? Okay, that's mean. That looks scary, right? But you guys can do it because you've been working on your better bar worksheet. Go put your bar on 5, all the way up and down on 5. Don't worry about the, because you're going to cover up this bottom string with your pinky. So plain old bar on 5 and a pinky on 8. Okay, that's what's going to happen there. 5, 5, 5, 8. And then I will come back. Now let's talk about it right now. This shape, a bar on 5, pinky on 8, in ukulele is an F chord. It's different. You notice up at the top I give you this F chord, and that's for when you sing. When you sing, you don't need to do a fancy F chord. You do your open F chord. But when you're not singing and you're an instrumentalist, the melody note is an 8. I need to put some kind of chord underneath it to back it up. And in this case, 5, 5, 5, 8 is an F chord, so that works out pretty smooth. Okay, that's why this is in the foundations class, because this is awesome. Okay, ring finger on 7. You're already holding down the 5 with the bar, so pluck that. Then you're going to grab your ring finger down here on 3, measure 7, you put your G chord on, 0, 2, 3, 2, 0, 2, 3, 2, strum that, hit the 3, you're going to have to lift up your middle finger to get the 0, put it back down to get the 2, and then 0, 0, 0, 3, again. Okay, now we're going to go to your F chord, 2, 0, 1, 0. Okay, probably use your ring finger to hit the 2 here, and then lift it back up. Go grab the 3 with your ring finger, probably. Nice strum on 2, 0, 1, 0, that's your F chord. Ring finger. And then same as yesterday with Brahms' Lullaby, 2, 0, 1, 3. It's an F chord, pinky up here, 3rd fret, 1st string. Okay, the same thing we learned yesterday. And then 0, 0, 3, just use your ring finger. And then 0, 3, 1. 0, 0, 0. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 3. Make sure you're rest stroking on that 1st string. Your thumb's hanging out like a hammock on string 1. You're not going to play it. Okay? Back to measure 13, do an F chord, 2, 0, 1, 0. Ring finger on the 2. Ring finger off to get the 0. Put your ring finger up on 3 or your pinky, either one. And then 2, 0, 1, 0. Ring finger on 2. Pinky on 3 and strum the whole thing again. Take your pinky and ring finger off to hit the 0. Measure 15. Put a G chord on, 0, 2, 3, but you're going to rest stroke, so you're not going to hit this 1st string right away. You have a 3, and you got a pinky doing nothing, right? So put your pinky on the 3, take it back off, and strum a whole G chord, 0, 2, 3, 2, that's a G chord. This one's going to be kind of hard for you. Pinky goes up to 5, don't let go of your chord yet. Okay, and then ring finger down and pinky off, 0, 0, 3. 0, 0, 0, 3. Okay, so again, the song doesn't matter. These skills that are on this song are going to come up every single day you play ukulele. There's nothing on here that's not going to come up. Okay, so let's go through. We're going to play it crazy slow, then we're going to play the baritone version. From the top, 1, baritone players, you're playing chords with me, nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 3, 5, 7, strum, 7, 5, 3, strum, 3, 5, 7, strum, G chord, strum, C chord, strum, 3, 5, 7, bar on 5, pinky on 8, strum. Whoops, my computer turned off. Hold on. Strum, hit the 7, 7, hit the 5, slide down to the 3, 3, G chord at measure 7, strum, 3, O, 2, C chord, strum, strum, put your F chord on, strum, ring finger, 2, O, 3, F chord, strum, ring finger, 3, pinky finger, strum, 0, 3, strum, O, 3, 1, 0, 0, and then 0, 3. F chord, strum, ring finger, 2, O, 3, F chord at 14, strum, ring, pinky on 3, O, G chord at 15, partial, don't play the first string, pinky on 3, regular G chord, pinky on 5, and then a C chord twice. Okay. Hey Nancy, welcome in. Let me play it for you at speed just so you can see, and instead of doing my thumb, I'm going to do a claw, just so you get a sense of what you're working on. Whether you can do it right now doesn't matter. Whether you know what you're supposed to do, that's what matters. So here's what it would sound like if I used a claw instead of a thumb. Well, let me start here. That's with the strum. That's with the pluck. It doesn't sound as good with the pluck, probably, but it's a different way of getting a different type of texture, or just your plain old thumb. That's my favorite part. Too fast, so I couldn't keep up, and then and the whole thing's kind of got a ton of mistakes in it, a bunch of mess, whatever. Basic idea of the song is there, and the only thing that matters, last two chords need to be right. And then your audience leaps to their feet in joyous applause and pleasure at what you've just done for them. Okay, it's a lot. Okay. This week, your focus is, again, taking the skills we learned in My Spaghetti Monster and Three Blind Mice and applying them to real music in Brahms' Lullaby and Yankee Doodle. Okay? So, again, it's easy to kind of get a little discouraged that you can't quite do it. Yeah, you will be able to do it. There's no question in my mind that you'll be able to do it, but you gotta put some time in. Take your time going through it and making sure that what you're working on is actually making sense. Let's go grab the baritone version of this before I let you guys go. We're almost out of time. Yankee Doodle baritone version. Now, we're in a different key, right? Baritone players, your program is identical from a tough U perspective, and your chords shapes are now the same as they were on ukulele. But ukulele players, you have to switch keys. Okay, so now your G chord, which is what we were already working on, when it says G, you play this shape. Okay, when it says D, you play index, middle, and ring all shoved up into your second fret. And when it says C, of course, you're going to play your C. Let's play together. I'm going to play baritone version, and those of you guys that are on ukuleles, you're playing the chords. 1, 2, ready, play. Yankee Doodle went to town, riding on a pony, stuck a feather in his hat and called it macaroni. that's your chords. Ukulele players, you know your chords now as well. Baritone players, play with me on the melody. Same exact thing that we just went over with ukulele players. 1, 2, 3, 4. Made a mistake somewhere in there, but basic idea is play that until you're sick of it. Okay, ukulele players are backing me up. I'm playing the melody, they're playing their chords. Their chords are going to be a little higher because of the higher pitched instrument, and this gives you a chance to play sort of a darker melody with a little bit brighter chords, and you get an interesting effect when that happens. And again, another reason to get together with people and play different instruments, or not necessarily different instruments, but different ways of playing either the same instrument. Or if you can grab a baritone player and a ukulele player, it usually sounds pretty good together. All right, so you know the melody, you know your chords, you know how the song goes. Baritone players, we're going to play the tough uke, same exact system as we were using on ukulele. Ukulele players, you are giving me G chord, D chord, and C chord. C chord. Here we go. From the top, very slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. G chord, D chord, sorry, baritone players. Bar chord. That's it. That's Yankee Doodle. Okay? When we play it slow like that, it sounds almost like a rock ballad, right? Your speakers go wild. The crowd erupts in a cheer. Getting right. Start off real slow. Then when you get to Yankee Doodle, keep it up, Yankee Doodle, daddy, right? And then you get your folk music banjo jamboree kind of sound to it. But again, the question here is not how you doing, because you're probably doing pretty horrible. But do you know what you're supposed to do? Do you, in your head, you're like, okay, I see the big building blocks here. Getting my hands to do it is going to take a while, and it should, because it took me a while. And if you could just pick it up without thinking about it, I will feel like I'm gypped. The big thing here is play all three ways. Play with chords, sing it, or at least hum it, right? Then go through and play the melody, and then go through and take your time on the tough uke. You'll notice on the baritone one, I put chords on every other on beats 1 and 3 all the way through there, because on baritone you end up with these nice sort of deep, dark, throaty sounds just sort of rolling through the whole song. Makes it sound a little bit better, but you don't have to do the second chord in any of them except for measure 4. You really do have to do the D chord there, but just let these tones happen in your instrument. Don't be in a rush to do anything. Minimize your motion here. Nice big beautiful strums on your right hand, and I think you'll end up with a real pretty sounding little tune there, even though the song itself is like, you didn't, when you bought your first ukulele, you didn't think, oh my gosh, I'm going to get where I can play Yankee Doodle Dandy on this song. So that's not what your plan was, but here it is. Now you can. All right, so tomorrow we are going to be digging into the arpeggios. You're going to want to get here early, and you're going to want to sit down, and you're going to want to bring your toughest self with you. Tomorrow can be a tiny bit demoralizing, and so key of C arpeggio is the last hard thing I have to talk to you about. And there's one other thing that's kind of annoying, but this is the last heavy lifting that we have to do, and that's tomorrow when we cover arpeggios. And then after that, we play a lot of songs. We will be playing. Listen to the song list after that. Amazing Grace, Happy Birthday, La Cucaracha, All Through the Night, Home on the Range. It's all legit music after that. But tomorrow we have an exercise that will turn out to be wildly important to you as you become a more competent player. All of my advanced players are experts at using arpeggio patterns to add interest and add decoration and add beauty to what is otherwise a fairly mundane type of musical experience. So tomorrow's lesson, while it is extremely difficult, is one of those they talk about the secrets in music. Tomorrow is one of the secrets. There aren't really any secrets, but it's one that's will be very valuable to you over the long term. So that's what I know about ukulele today. Next hour, we're playing a couple Tin Pan Alley tunes, By the Light of the Silvery Moon and Dream a Little Dream of Me. Both of them pretty challenging. Come play the melodies with us. Come practice them. The chords are jazzy, so the chords might not be quite what you're like yet, but you can definitely come play melody with us. Some of you are probably even beyond that, right? And so come hang out with us. I'll see all of you guys tomorrow. And I think what Janice and Jim are both talking about is encouraging. The biggest thing you can do for yourself is encourage yourself to make lots of mistakes, to let yourself not know sometimes, to do what you can, and to let a lot of stuff go. When I started music, it took me, I'm kind of a little bit of a perfectionist, not a lot, but a little bit, and I really felt like I needed to know everything before I got going, and that's not the right way to think. The thing is do what you can. Right? Let some of the rest of it go, and know that there's no deadline in music. There is no. We create artificial deadlines on Friday, right, for you to be ready. But if you're not ready, you're not ready, and so then we go on. Okay, and the only thing that will prevent you from being a very fine, high-level ukulele player is forgetting to show up. Okay, and that happens. People's lives get crazy. Different things happen. I get it. I understand why people stop showing up. But if you'll keep showing up, you will be a great ukulele player. So keep it coming. Rob, good to see you. Janice, thanks for sorry you've been in lockdown all this time. We've been sort of in lockdown in the United States, but not really. We're terrible at this. We're just terrible at people telling us what to do. I don't know if Scottish people are any better at it, but I know that we are abysmal at it. Even simple stuff, we can't do it. Jim, you're welcome. Good to see you. Nancy, so good to see you. Mindy, I hope I answered your question about measure 4. Mary, good to see you. Who else am I missing? Donna, Valerie, Linda, good to see you. All right, guys, I'll pull the plug. You have a wonderful day, and come see us next hour, or I'll see all of you guys tomorrow as well. Have a great day.